Be ready. 15 seconds. This appeal by Industrial Development Bank of India takes exception to the judgment passed by the full bench of the Andhra Pradesh High Court in original side appeal number 1 of 2005, whereby it has been held that notwithstanding the winding up order in the case of Messrs. Sri Vishnu Industries Limited and the Provisions Companies Act 1956, the customs authorities have the first right to sell the imported goods under the Customs Act 1962 and adjust the sale proceeds towards payment of customs duty. The company during the period 1994-2000 was granted and availed of financial assistance from the appellant IDBI. As a security, the company had hypothecated movable properties and created equitable mortgage of immovable properties by depositing title deeds. The charge was duly registered with the Registrar of Companies. In addition, the promoters and guarantors had finished personal guarantees. In the present case, we are concerned with the hypothecated movable property, namely machinery and its components imported from Italy during the years 1998-99. The goods packed in 180 wooden containers were warehoused in a private bounded warehouse by executing bond in terms of Section 59(1) of the Customs Act. The goods were initially warehoused for 1 year, which period was extended. However, as the goods were not cleared for home consumption in terms of Section 47 of the Customs Act, even after expiry of the extended period of warehousing, show cause notices were issued, and after considering the explanation given by the company, orders in original dated 15th September 2000 and 10th October 2000 were passed, confirming levy of customs duty of rupees 3 lakhs and rupees 10 lakhs respectively. When the company did not pay the duty, the authorities had passed an order for sale of the warehoused goods for recovery of the customs duty, relying on the powers conferred under Section 72 to read with Section 142 of the Customs Act. Thereafter, another order under Section 72(2) of the Customs Act was passed for detention and sale of the warehoused goods for recovery of rupees 22 lakhs. On failure to pay the duty, steps were initiated for auctioning the imported goods, and the company was informed as per the decisions of the relevant authority in the case for action required here. In the meanwhile, company petition number 168 of 2002 was filed before the Andhra Pradesh High Court for winding up of the company. This petition was admitted on 1st April 2003. The company was directed to be wound up while the order passed Thereupon, the official liquidator filed an application under Section 468 of the Companies Act, read with Rules 9 and 11 of the Companies Rule 1959, for directing the customs authorities to hand over possession of the imported goods which had been put up for auction for payment of the customs duty. This application was allowed by a single judge of the High Court, vide the order observing inter alia that the customs authorities had not followed the procedure contemplated under the Customs Act before passing the order under Section 72 of the Customs Act, in the absence of which the detention orders were void ab initio and non-exist in the eyes of law. Secondly, on an order of winding up being passed in terms of Section 456 of the Companies Act, the assets of the company in liquidation by operation of law vest in the official liquidator, who alone was entitled to deal with the effects and actionable claims. Reference was also made to Section 447 of the Companies Act. Consequently, as the winding up order had been passed against the company but sale was yet to be effected, the official liquidator was duty bound to take into his custody and control all properties, effects, and actionable claims, including the movable property, that is, the important goods. Official liquidator, as the custodian of all the properties of the company, functions under the directions of the company court. Any person making any claim against the company has to prove his claim before the official liquidator by placing necessary material in support. Accordingly, the submission regarding the custom authorities' entitlement and right under the Customs Act to sell the imported goods to realize their dues was rejected. On the customs authorities preferring an intra-court appeal, the matter was referred to the full bench of the Andhra Pradesh High Court on the question of whether the claim of a secured creditor has precedence over the right of the customs authorities to recover the customs duty. The full bench, relying on and approving the ratio of the Calcutta High Court in Collector of Customs versus Ditron India Limited, disagreed with the view expressed by a full bench of the Madras High Court in UTI Bank Limited. The full bench of the Andhra Pradesh High Court has held that this case has no application in this particular case. Sir, I rise to support the bill brought forward by the Honorable Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Finance. Banking is a service of vital importance to industry, commerce, and agriculture. It is concerned with the creation of credit money and its distribution between various users such as industry and agriculture, or between institutions and individuals. In fact, the smooth working of a modern economy depends on the proper regulation of credit with which the banks are concerned. The question, therefore, of recruitment of the personnel of banking institutions assumes great importance. The Banking Commission has recommended the establishment of such a commission in its report in 1972. In fact, government have been rather late in bringing forward this very important and necessary piece of legislation. Before nationalization, some of the big commercial banks had made some arrangements of their own for recruitment of their staff. The Institute of Bank Management and the Reserve Bank of India, through the Bankers Training College, run some short term and long term courses for recruitment and training of bank staff. But these arrangements are not adequate even to meet the requirements for recruitment of high cadres.